It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our next speaker, architect Neelam Manjunath from Manasaram Architects. She is the CEO, founder, and managing trustee of Center for Green Building Material and Technology, Bangalore.
I am architect Neela Manjunath, and I am really happy to be part of this international conference, Icon Best 2021, organized by SRM IST, School of Architecture and Interior Design. And today I'll be speaking to you about architecture, and my topic for the simply architecture with elements. So I will be starting my presentation now. So as I was telling, in this day and age, everyone is always trying to put something, adding something to architecture, and I believe that architecture is complete. The word itself is complete by itself, and it defines the profession in a very nice manner. So I will actually be talking to you about how to design with elements, which I have been trying to do all my practicing life. And as you can see the photograph on the right, to me, the key to all this is through nature, and that's what the photo signifies. It's not my photograph. I have taken picked up from the internet. So I will just begin with, I know everyone knows about it, but just to remind ourselves, who is an architect. So ever since I started my career, I understood that you have to be an engineer because the building has to stand, and you also have to be a sculptor to put in the aesthetics, because building is a living sculpture through which actually everyone moves, the people who actually use the building. So both structure and aesthetic are a very important part of architectural design. And the function that generally people have been talking these days is thinking about only physical functions. It's actually not so. It is actually encompassing all criteria of the use of the space, the perception of the space, enjoyment of a building, and which is not only practical but also aesthetic, psychological, and cultural, and spiritual at the same time. And I'll come to these words, a little later again. I will revisit them while I'm explaining the other criteria. So, what are the other criteria that I feel I have been experiencing in architecture that should be there? See, as I was talking about nature, nature is always very low energy and it is cyclic. The cyclic word, you may feel that it is not a new word at all. And even low energy, actually, it's not a new word at all, because nature has been doing it all the time. So there are some simple facts that I would like to remind, just to revisit them, that everything comes from nature. We keep forgetting this as human beings, and because of our ego we keep thinking that we are the ones who have, man has produced this. Man cannot produce anything for that matter. He can only process it, and nothing is originally man made. We take from nature and we process it and we process it and keep processing it, and the more the processing, the finer the products. That's what we feel. And the more processed a product, the more valuable actually it is considered by humans today. But we all know the more you process a material, the more difficult it is to recycle. And the cyclic, process which we've been talking about today has gone for a toss thanks to this processing. So anything natural, according to man, is of no value. It can be trampled upon, it can be thrown upon, it can be, you know, destroyed as we keep destroying. and we think they are useless, and we have to do something out of it. Only then it becomes valuable. And people, and we all think that nature doesn't know processing, which actually we all, and but at the back of our mind we all know that's absolutely wrong, because whatever we have learned, we have also learned from nature. As you can see the three photographs at the bottom, we have something which is directly from nature. It's a flower. We have something, a mud building, which is slightly processed. And then we have another building, sorry Jaha Hadid and your office, but materials that is used in the building are very highly processed and are nowhere close to anything natural that anyone can think of. Now, in this scenario, what could be low energy and cyclic? And I feel that's the least processing. The least amount of processing we do to do any of our works and perform our functions, the more energy efficient and close to nature we will be. Talking about the elements, as we, in our, at least in India, we have this, we call them Panch Tattvas, the five elements, which is earth, water, fire, air, and space. And everything in this world is actually made of the same five elements and their combinations, including us, including man, and all life, of course. So subconsciously, we seek to connect to it at all times, especially when in stress. I mean, for example, if you are really troubled, to de-stress yourself, you actually go to nature. You don't go to a closed room, because we have energy fields. We all human beings have energy fields, which is proven now, which when distanced or removed from nature gets disturbed, because it is in our DNA. These are the five spaces that I have shown, and this is a very simple example of what all you get. Suppose you get, you have a site, and we're talking about these five elements. What do you get? Because all these elements you actually get free on your site. From air, you get ventilation and energy. You can get from fire, you can get light and energy, natural light. In water, earth, we get all our building materials and all other things, food, everything, and ether, which is the space. And balancing all these is what is there in our body. That's what nature does. Imagine doing a building which removes a person far, far away from these elements. What would it be? It will cause stress. Do we want to design buildings which cause stress to human beings? Stress to all of us? And if you think if somebody is in stress, can they actually perform? Can they be efficient? That's a question that we need to answer ourselves. Also, with this, I always think that architecture by default should be low energy. And that's why I have put that heading out there, low energy in architecture. And I would like to know what is wrong with the word architecture, because everyone is running around trying to do some prefix or suffix isms and so on to support it. Does architecture need these supports? Does architecture need these crutches, ism, all these kind of things? Because they are all small parts of it, but architecture as a whole encompasses everything. In fact, I have a lot of regard for the people who call themselves as architecture with parametrics. Now, what is parametrics? It is with parameter. Does parametric architecture or software give you something more or more parameters than what actually architecture already had? No, it doesn't actually. And even after you have done your design through a parametric architecture, unless you have fed in the right data in there, unless you know what questions to ask, unless you know the values properly, and unless until you know or you have the right data, you actually cannot come to a good design at all. So at the end of doing all the softwares and Nubras and all the other exercises, ultimately in the end you again have to do a mental exercise to make things right and know whether it is actually working. Because I have been not a part of it, but I have been seeing and I have been reading about several experiments, and I have been meeting people who have done these the so-called very advanced kind of architectural things, and the whole net is buzz with all these kind of items that such advanced things are happening. But if you really ask me, in the end, the person who knows all the parameters, who knows how to manipulate them, only he or she can actually produce a good design. So keeping all this in mind, what could be the definition of a simple architecture? I mean, I would say, or just architecture. These are like Corbusier said, architecture has nothing to do with the various styles. I mean, the isms also, they actually of not of much use. It's like categorizing things in the past from the viewpoint of the present, or what comes next. So it keeps on changing, like as I said, for architecture or permaculture. These things don't change the word architecture, because architecture will remain architecture. And it's a complete whole. It doesn't need any crutches. I have been trying to practice architecture with elements for simple living, and I call it very, very emphasized in the manner, kept on emphasizing on simple living, because that's what gives you, which is really required to live a very meaningful life. An architecture is supposed to, as an architect, we are supposed to strive toward designing spaces and buildings to fulfill the basic need of a shelter to perform various activities. And that we have really come to understand during our COVID times in last 1 year. What are our basic needs, which really we need to survive, in the first place. We need to remain healthy. What are our priorities? And architecture always is supposed to be catering to those needs. And that needs also in such a way that we meet the needs of the present without putting at risk the capacity of future generations in meeting their requirements. That means we have to be cyclic. So this is something which is, I will be presenting to you this through one of my projects today, which is under construction right now. It's not completely finished. Some parts are finished, so I will share them with you. And this is a project very close to my heart, Aditi Greenscapes in Bangalore. And this is where I also live. I have made my house, which is the house of 5 elements, and my office, which is Bamboo Symphony. And there's a residential complex, which is Element 5 by developers called VT Developers. So I will be just quickly going through these for your consideration, just to explain how I have gone about it. This is a very simple layout. If you can see, this is just approximately 4.5 acres of land, and it's got about 55 plus about 16, 70 apartments and approximately 17 villas. The whole thing that I started with, we started construction in about 2006 after getting approval. This is a BDA approved layout. And as you can see, it's a very simple plan, keeping a central, park, which is like a central courtyard in a house that you have, or agora, a meeting place or something like that, a community space right in the middle with various activities put in there, and all the other, residential blocks around them. The main, this is the code that I have put on the right side actually, is a code which I have been following right since I was in 4th year in architecture actually. And this had been my dream, to design a city in a garden, not designing a garden in a city. I know this is a very small plot and it might not be able to fulfill completely that, but I have tried my best to see that I try to give as much as greenery, as much of this thing here. So 25% is the park here, which I have provided, and all the buildings also, as much as they are built area, I have I have I have made sure that I have terraces and other landscape areas which goes beyond the built area of each and every building in this particular project. So this is the first building that I did. That's my house. The upper two actually are 3Ds, but the bottom one is a photograph. And it's made of mud and bamboo. We work a lot with, and stone. They are three major materials with which I have built. This is another view of the house up close, and this is all stabilized mud blocks that I have used with a lot of bamboo, and I have used stone in for my basement, because I took out the mud and I have used the same mud to build the whole building, and thereby, so taking everything from where it, close to my site, using a lot of debris around, which is another new material that I have been using a lot. Wherever I can get waste, I immediately grab it and try to use it wherever I can. So this is the house that I have made this is called House of Five Elements. And in this one, I have just, if you see here, natural light, ventilation, all those principles that were there to use, like, your open spaces, what is the optimum that width that you can have before you again have to have give another puncture, and many other such criteria actually have been taken care in this. The water I have conserved. I have a certain 75,000 liters sump for my house itself because the house is large. The footprint of the house is around 5,000 square feet. The total built-up area, including basement, of which 2,500 is basement and around 2,500 is first floor. So it's around 10,000 square feet, but it's more of verandas and open areas, and the rooms are approximately 50% of it only. So I have a lot of open kind of living spaces that we have been trying to utilize. And every drop of rainwater I collect from every side, and I recycle them. I also recycle my water, which comes from I have a DVAT system, which the water is this thing. And I have used materials, as you can see, bamboo and stone and very simple materials that you can see here. And as you can see, I have not compromised on any kind of thing like aesthetics or anything. It doesn't look like a mud and bamboo building at all. And this was what my purpose was. One was that, give bamboo and mud a heads up so that people don't label it as poor man's materials or materials where you compromise on the aesthetics and all. So you can actually have any kind of building for that matter with these materials. It only depends on how you actually, work with it. And as you can see, there's a lot of natural light. I hardly need much of electricity, in here. We don't have fans in the house, in the main areas. Only bedrooms have fans. And a lot of light and ventilation, as you can see. This is how the whole thing is. Now the next is my office, which is a bamboo symphony. All the waste from my house, I think most architects know that they are always short of money to build their offices. At least I was. So all the waste that I had from my house, I have taken and I have built my office. And this is a very absolutely open space because it hardly looks like an office, looks like a loggia or looks like a chill out space, and that's what actually I wanted it to be, so that it is really very peaceful and delightful to work here on the creative pursuits that we wanted to actually have. So this is what this is my office. And the other various, again here, as you can see, I have stone and I have mud and I have bamboo. This is the main building material, and I have a lot of waste, all over the place, and a lot of greenery, of course. So, and this is as you can see, there are full-grown trees on the site. This is the site, and the trees all around. Even before I started the building constructions on the site, I knew that you can't grow trees overnight. They need time. And so I used that opportunity to start planting trees even before the construction started, wherever I could, wherever I thought that we demarcated the spaces, and we have done that. All these bamboos that you see here in my office, they are not interior decoration. They are actually structural columns, where the property of bamboo as a structural material actually has been, fully utilized to its full potential. Furnitures and all these things I have actually done here. And then I come to this overall space. So the empty spaces that you see are the other buildings that I have designed. In the front, that is my house that you saw there, and the other side also there's another apartment complex. And this is E5, which is called Element 5, and we called it Element 5, and we have about 14 villas as part of it and 55 apartments with that central park. And this is what was the concept note that I had prepared for myself in a larger context, which I am now putting in detail. That we really need to conserve nature, as you can see from the top quote. And The concept was that we have to have a development which create a sustainable living typology that would contribute socially and environmentally in an urban setting, because people keep thinking it's very easy to do in a rural setting. What do we do when we come to an urban setting? And that too also on a small site. 4.5 acres, pretty small site, to really work with this kind of a thing. But I took up this challenge, and this is what I have, whatever I am showing here is a result of the, the exercise that we have done. So nature never wastes, as you know, and this is a very simple thing that we can see. We breathe out carbon dioxide taken by trees, and they again breathe out. So the waste of our this thing is taken as a resource for another one, and that's what we wanted to do here in our project. And the five elements and the three faculties of man, psychological, spiritual, and physical, we thought we need to, we not thought, and this is what we have, I have been thinking, we are supposed to satisfy all of them. These are some of the data about the site actually. So we had produced, and this is the project intent. We drew an intent. So the well-being, living conditions, interaction, amenities, and environment, which I said spiritual, physical, and psychological. How do you actually cater to it? And that's how you do it. So amenities, as you can see, each one has been taken care as to by providing for them. So man being a social being, we have to have interactive spaces. How do you embrace the site as it is, and then you try to live in it? Then energy conservation, natural lighting, all these things, and there's an ecosystem that we actually produce. You would be surprised, in such a small site we get with, and it's still not finished, so more trees will be added, but we get wild rabbits, we get water birds here in such a small site with whatever we have already created. So we have created an ecosystem where animals are thriving. We have lovely butterflies and lots of squirrels and all these other of course, even reptiles like snakes. We have all those and this was again the intent, as I said, the building communities and not projects. So as an architect, when we design, we are supposed to not look at them as projects, but look at them as social responsible architecture. So how do you actually try to reinvent and do things? So the criteria was to have a rural life in urban setting, environmental remediation, social and community building landscape. Landscape itself should build, it's like that. The flora and fauna, which we want to put as the local indigenous species and keystone species. Then water bodies to maintain the climate and the humidity of the thing. And we have put an amphitheater, which is a very natural looking kind of amphitheater for community integration and interactions. So that's what becomes the community green at the community center we have. We have a wellness center, and we have a sky community spaces in the apartment as well, which I'll come to later shortly. So this is what city in a park versus park in a cities, and that was the criteria. So these are the very simple indigenous species that I have actually used, and these are already in place. It's already in place here, and we have a lot of these animals, as I told. And the planning actually happened. If you can see the green spaces, how they have been integrated into the apartments and living spaces. So it was consciously built as to give higher, more than what we have taken. So if we are taken a particular footprint of a building, we give it back much more than what we have taken, and that was the idea. So this is how we have, organized those spaces and units. And all these, even in the apartments, what we have actually is you have these island apartments. So there's no common wall. So all of them have got 360 degrees ventilation. And these are the materials and other things that we have used. We have used the waste. We have made plastic waste road that we have already right now, and we are looking at green roof to grow vegetables. We already started preparations for that. We are looking at all these other energy options. Not looking at, we have put in actually into the project. We are using bamboo. We are using double height spaces for balconies, and mud from the site for all the construction that is happening for the blocks. We have put an STP for grey water usage. We have green fences, and we have stone used for walls and foundations. So these are like several, and you can see the legend below. This tells you what all energy produced by PV systems and apartments and how we have tried to do that. Water is grown on the site. This is the central park with all these amenities. You can see in a very small space, we have tried to use, different kinds of activities from small children to youth, where you need an active thing. So you have some sports, and also for aged people, so that so you provide to people from all age groups and all tastes, where they can actually relax in a small place, and all of them, how they are segregated. This is actually we have a tree park. Not many trees have been shown here. There are many more trees, because if you put trees, you can't see the park layout in this one. So we have a tree park around that circle that you see in the center, and only the central area is like a rolling green with shrubs and all that. So it's a mix of both, where you have space to run around for the children to run around, and also this tree park, which actually oxygenates the whole layout, and of course water bodies, as I said too. And so the principle which I said, we harvest all what nature gives you freely on your site, and that's what we try to do. So we are using all the local materials, and this is a typical section that we have of our road. As you can see, we have slope, and we have the gutter only on one side of the road, and the other side we have swale. So, and it's like a zero runoff design. Yeah, we are not going to have even a single drop wasted and going outside the thing. This is a green data, how much of total trees which are proposed, and the number of trees which are existing already, which are also planted by us, and how many trees per villa we have, and how many trees per apartment unit we have. We give you this total area, and how much the tree area, and the landscape, and the oxygen produced from all this here. And this is a green plot ratio, which tells you just in a table, how will you actually, ecosystem contribution, self-sufficiency, and plot ratio, and community plot ratio, how much of community space per plot we have provided. And replanting, solar trees, activity creation, I think I already spoke about it. And the villas, actually here we have got 4 types of villas, which are different types, and we have given different elements to actually define. Yeah, the villas, as you can see, and solar villas, and which are the yellow ones, and the blue ones, and 10 is the earth one, and 11, 13, and 17, they are the water villas. So designs are different for each one of them, and this is how they look actually. And this will be in the beginning, and then after some time probably they'll be run over by all the greenery around. This is all mud and this thing construction, and this is the way the zoning has been done, that you have a semi-public space in the front, and then you have a semi-private and absolutely private zone at the back in the villas. And that is the hierarchy of spaces that we have tried to give in the villas, so that you have privacy, and at the same time you also interact with the community in a very effective manner. These are some of the, as you can see, the greenery actually extends right inside the house. You can see the continuity that is there. So even when you are inside a villa, you actually see greenery all around, and the light all around, and you feel the 5 elements all around you. This is designing homes, not houses, private yet connected. This is what I again was speaking. The trees in the park, the tree park which is there in the trees towards the villas, they actually act as a visual barrier, and they also look at extended gardens. So this is almost like a continuity again of the greenery. This was also intended in this thing. And these are some of the cross ventilation, terraces, and air quality, connectivity with nature, natural materials. Coming to apartments, we were wondering how to really solve this issue. Is vertical living really a compromise on independent houses? And we thought definitely no. We will try to make it as interactive and as green and as community friendly as possible, and that's what we have done through our design. And so we have double height balconies for giving more natural light and all. And they have been designed as island villas apartments. So you actually have a personalized entrance to each villa, as you can see here. Each villa is separate, segregated from the other villas, and they have their own, gardens, and they have their own views. left and left also, right also. I mean, all the sides they have their views and ventilations. And there's a very large atrium in the center, which actually provides a lot of community space. And there are community spaces on each level, at all levels, which actually give you the community space for interaction. As you can see here, that green patch in the center. I think here you can have a look at that. So the bridge connecting the north and the south units. That is how it is. And here also the similar kind of spaces, succession spaces has been actually used. There are a lot of indoor park inside the apartment as well. This is our IGBC rating that we got, pre-certified LEED rating. And we, by the end of the project, we intend to improve it further. And we lost many points, I think 8 points, because we have not air conditioned the whole thing. So actually we are 87 points out of 92. And this also, they did not give us points for using the same soil that we have from the site. Out of 4 points, we were given only 1 point. And if we would have got all those 4 points, we would be around 90, I think, out of the 92 points that we actually addressed. These are some of the views, 3D views that you can see of the proposed, place. And this is the community space. We don't call it a clubhouse. This is actually a community space with a very small cafe where we will be serving all the vegetables that is grown on the terraces. They will be served here and they'll be sold here. And there's a library. We have a games room and a very small swimming pool out here. This is the whole apartment from the front side and from inside the park, from the park side actually. And this is a health club on the rooftop. And this is the inside within the apartments, the atrium space in the center. This is when you're looking out to the park from one of the apartments. And this is looking towards the main entrance from inside. And this is the actual pictures. Now we are at this stage of construction. On the left side, you see apartments and you can see full grown trees already there. On the right side, we have one of the villas, which is almost finished construction. Now we are going for finishing of that. So this is the stage it is in. You can see from the view from the apartment to the park. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Architect Neelam Manjunath, for a wonderful presentation. We will now be taking a short break to play our sponsor's video, and we'll be back with our next speaker.